Have you ever wondered, country like India, who give less importance and freedom to women, had freeness of choosing their lifestyle? Yes, you heard it right. Ancient India had given women the freedom of choosing their life as a scholar or an ideal wife, that is, as Brahmavadini or as Sadyavadu. We shall discuss about these in detail by the end of this video. So let's get started. Brahmavadini and Sadyavadu. There are two types of women in ancient history. There are Brahmavadini and Sadyavadu. The word Brahmavadini is derived from two words where Brahma means Veda and Vadini means reciting. Girls who recite Veda are called Brahmavadini, whereas the word Sadyavadu is also derived from two words where Sadhya means at once, Vadu means bride. So, a girl who becomes straightaway bride after attaining a puberty are called Sadyavadu. Women who strive for highest philosophical knowledge of Brahman and expounder of Veda and also who compose some of the Vedas are called as Brahmavadini. In simple words, we can tell girls who decide to become a student are called as Brahmavadini. Those women who are interested in speaking about Brahman are also called as Brahmavadini. Whereas Sadyavadu is a domestic ideal who dedicates her life to the welfare of her family. And Upanayana sacrament for both the categories. Upanayana sacrament is nothing but wearing of a thread or upper garment over the left shoulder. That is called Upanayana sacrament. There are different ages at which the Upanayana sacrament is wear for both the categories. For Brahmavadini it is done at the age of 8. For Sadyavadu it is done either in 16 or 17. This is formality for Sadyavadu, whereas it is a ceremony for Brahmavadini. For Sadyavadu it is just a formality that is done before the marriage for the namesake, but Brahmavadini it is the start of their education. And at the age of 8, wore thread or upper garment over their left shoulder. They used to keep Vedic fires, and after completion of their studies they had valedictory rites, that is called farewell party, which is also called Samavartana, and then they can marry and get settled. After education they can marry and then get settled, but Sadyavadu after attending their puberty they will become brides, and in their case Upanayana was just a formality and was performed just before the marriage at the age of 16 or 17. And coming to education and living, for Brahmavadinis, they are educated under their own father or in the Gurukul under a guru where co-education exists and men and women were treated equally. And whereas Kshatriya caste women got trained in martial arts and wielding arm, extra education was also taught for Kshatriya, like royal family students, where females are also taught martial arts and wielding arts. Sadyavadu becoming a bride, that doesn't mean education is restricted to them. Certain type of education was also taught to them, like important mantras, shotras for regular pujas. But here in the Sadyavadu, there exists some of the partiality in which music and dance were only confined to Sadyavadu, where Brahmavadinis or male students cannot learn them. Partiality was seen and it is mentioned in Vedic literature also. And Sadyavadu has lot of importance. A householder was eligible to perform yagnas only if he had a wife, that is Sadyavadu. See, wife has a lot of importance. If wife is not there for a person, he is not eligible to perform any yagnas. Taittiriya and Shatabhadra Brahmana mentions that one who does not have wife cannot perform yagnas. So, by this we can conclude that woman has lot of importance. Either Brahmavadini or Sadyavadu both have significant role in ancient history. Without a woman, a man cannot perform yagnas, whereas Brahmavadini, a girl can have the freedom of choosing her life as a student or a wife. Women who were interested in discussing about Brahma were also considered as Brahmavadini. For example, Brahmavadini Maitreyi was also such Brahmavadini, and she was mentioned in Brihad Aranyaka. But the practice of wearing Upanayana sacrament was disappeared even before the time of Manusmriti. Okay, now let's learn prominent Brahmavadinis. So there are some prominent Brahmavadinis, but in Rigveda, whoever rishis or rishikas have given or contributed their work, 17 of the total were women. And there are Romasa, Lopamudra, Apata, Kadru, Vishwavara, Gosha, Junu, Vak Ambirni, Palomi, Tatriya, Shraddha, Kamoini, Urvashi, Yami, Indrani, Savitri and Devyani. But now today for the time being we'll learn only prominent which are important. Vak Ambirini, Vishweswara, Romasa, Shikta, Gosha, Maitreyi, Gargi and Lopamudra. These are very important Brahmavadinis. Very less information is available in the website, so very less is known about them. And Lopamudra was also called as Kaustaki Varhaprada. She is the spouse of sage Agastya Mahamuni. And Gargi's famous book is Yoga Yagna Valkya. Nothing is mentioned about her in detail. And Maitreyi is an Indian philosopher lived during later period in ancient India. She was mentioned as earlier we discussed. She is mentioned in Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad as one of the wives of Yagnavalkya. So Yagnavalkya had two wives, one of which is Maitreyi and second one is Katyayani, who is a housewife. He married two women, out of which one is a housewife and one was Brahmavadini as one of the. She appears in ancient Indian text concept of Atman. She appeared in the concept of Atman. And Gosha is the ancient period Indian philosopher and seer. Two hymns in Rigveda were dedicated to her. It was in praise of Ashwini Kumaras, in which they cured her and restored her youthfulness. So, in praising them, she dedicated two hymns in Rigveda in praise.